This Wish and the Reprise showcase Asha and her journey, as well as the overarching story of Wish as a whole. These two songs complement each other so fluidly and perfectly, but we'll get to those a little bit later on. Why do we have music in movies? What purpose does it serve? Well, music does a lot of things, but more often than not, it's used to convey feeling or emotion or otherwise deliver information to the audience in a manner that's more fun and engaging than regular exposition. So a song's purpose seeks to answer several questions. What role does it serve in the movie? What does it tell us about the characters of the story? And what kind of emotions are it meant to elicit? I plan to answer these questions, at least in terms of my personal experience and interpretation of the music, by looking at two main criteria for each of the songs. First, how a music feels, and second, what a music says narratively. Overall, the music here is weird. Some of the songs really landed for me right out the gate, like Welcome to Rosas and What I Know Now. Some of them warmed up to me after listening multiple times, like I'm a Star and This Is the Thanks I Get. And some gained hugely important context after really deep diving into them and taking a closer look, specifically with This Wish and its Reprise. There are layers to all of these songs that get uncovered with each additional listen or watch. Depth and nuance provided by new pieces that stand out, elements to notice, or interpretations that change and add context that wasn't previously there. Of course, music, like all art, is subjective, so all of this will be my personal interpretation and my personal perspective on the matter, but I hope that any perspective I might bring will let you view these songs in a new light or find something in there that you hadn't seen before. Let's get started with the opening number.
Welcome to Rosas, come on, come this way.
Welcome to Rosas serves as the exposition dump song, the song that introduces the audience to the movie and sets the tone for what to expect. It's upbeat, catchy, and tells us what we need to know about where we are and what's going on. Personally, it's one of my favorites, nearly as good as one of the best recent openers from Family Madrigal in Encanto, and probably on par with Moana's Where You Are. I can say with confidence, it's better than a lot of other openers, and I'm looking at you, Ice Block song from Frozen. Anyway, right from the opening lines, you have this energetic run-up of notes, this
Welcome to Rosas,
coming from the delightful Ariana DeBose, giving a wonderful performance. It has an upbeat cadence and a little bit of a Spanish flair using a variety of instruments that would be representative of that area, specifically something like the clicky castanets. It doesn't hurt to have a super catchy bridge and chorus.
'Cause here in the city of Rosas.
It's lighthearted, friendly, and welcoming, which mirrors its purpose in the story. Asha is the guide welcoming you to Rosas, and the people on this tour are the stand-in for us in the audience. So what kind of information does it tell us? What does it do for the story? As an introduction song, it checks most of the boxes. It introduces us to the city of Rosas as being
No other place just as full of surprise, where your dreams and your reality can collide.
more specifically that
You can turn all your wanting to wishing, no worries and no wonder.
live your dreams, have whatever you want. This paradise is awaiting you because it's...
Europa.
It also introduces us to our benevolent king.
We have this king named Magnifico, and he built Rosas many years ago.
Attributing him to the creation of this magnificent place, and that while the townsfolk adore him,
And someone that I like to kiss. Oh dear.
he also uses his powers of
A magic swish, and there you have it, poof, there's your wish.
we cover the logistics of giving your wish to Magnifico as you come of age, but she specifically calls out the care of the wishes.
And he keeps them safe, every wish he acquires, and once a month he grants someone's greatest desire.
This is the sell. This is the idea.
They give their wishes to me willingly, and I make it so they forget their worries.
But there's a weird drawback in that you forget them, at least temporarily losing that part of you.
Does it hurt?
Do you cry?
Oh, no, and you won't even miss it when you say goodbye.
But hey, everything's awesome in Rosas, and
It's unlikely that you'll be unhappy with so much to discover.
where?
The city of Rosas.
Now, there's an interesting line that I purposely skipped over earlier that I love noticing on follow-up watches. Early on, Asha is jokingly saying,
With lightning for hands and eyes that can glow. No, I'm totally kidding. But body is powerful.
Which does at least two things. It foreshadows Magnifico's display of power later on in the movie, where he literally shoots lightning and has glowing eyes, but it also shows Asha's devotion to him, to Rosas, and to the ideals of the kingdom. She believes in Rosas. She believes in Magnifico. She is so quick to immediately dismiss this as a joke because she genuinely believes it not to be true. It's subtle and totally missed on the first view, but little things like that are things that I've grown to love about this song, and the movie in general. Welcome to Rosas does a lot of heavy lifting to set up key story elements and tell us about Magnifico's kingdom, but outside of the previous retrospective line, it doesn't really tell us much about Asha. Luckily, we'll get much more of that very soon, including in our next song, At All Costs.
At all costs.
At first, I thought At All Costs was just okay. It's a nice slow song that looked and felt pretty, but as mentioned in the intro, more and more layers get pulled back on each listen. It's an absolutely beautiful song. As Magnifico says, wishes
Are a part of your heart.
And what makes it so fascinating to me is the realization that this duet is being sung to completely different audiences. Not to each other, nor even the same thing. When Magnifico sings,
You pull me in like some kind of wind, mesmerized by the hold I'm in.
I see this as him singing to the idea of wishes, the collection of wishes, the wishes as an object themselves.
Keep you safe here in my arms.
He seems to want to keep the wishes safe, protect the wishes, not the people, not their happiness or their well-being, just their wishes. This object represents his ability to protect the people by protecting the thing which represents them. When the camera is on him and he says to keep them safe, his view of the wishes is cloudy, unclear, generic, and tinted blue. They remain anonymous and impersonal to Magnifico. However, wishes fade into their specifics when we see things through Asha's perspective. Her view tints them purple and shows the wish inside. We see clarity, purpose, and the people within. She seems infatuated by these specific wishes themselves, the wonder, the joy, the happiness they represent for the person who wished it. Each time we see Asha engage with a wish, it's clear what that wish is. She cares about the people of Rosas and cares about their wishes. They're not just an object, but a representation of that person and their dreams. Magnifico sees the totality of wishes, whereas Asha sees each individual wish. This is best shown when she finally sees her Saba's wish. She is singing to that wish, her Saba's wish, and only that wish.
If you're ever feeling like you're lost, I'll come find you.
I imagine this is to show the difference between Asha's empathy for others and Magnifico's view of the wishes collectively as this object that needs protection. And this mindset makes their duet feel very different if we're listening with this added context. Magnifico's opening verse of
If happiness was a tangible thing, it would be you.
is still beautiful, but it feels like an empty platitude.
And people search for a wonder like you all of their lives.
Because he's talking about the wish itself, the object being the wonder, not the wish contained inside. Contrasting this with Asha,
If someone tried to hurt you, I don't see how that could happen. I'd fight for you in ways you can't imagine.
she's talking about the content of that person's wish, that person's dream. When they finally finish with a repeat of the chorus, it just hits differently with them framing that she's singing to the soul of the person who made that wish, and he's singing to a collection of objects he feels tasked to protect, both of which spend the movie living up to that promise of protecting them at all costs, but doing it in their own unique ways and for their own unique goals.
You safe here in my arms. I will protect you at all costs. At all costs.
The next song that comes up chronologically is This Wish, but we're going to cover that a little later on, combined with the reprise at the end. So next up is going to be...
I'm a star!
I actually didn't like this song at first, and it took a while for me to warm up to it. I thought it felt very Broadway show tunesy in style and production, and I didn't really follow much of the lyrics. I didn't really understand why plants and animals were coming to life, or what any of this had to do with the rest of the movie. It just felt weird. Once the spark of connection was made to the theme of We Are Stars, a concept popularized by renowned science educator Carl Sagan and discussed at length in a previous video of mine, I had a much deeper appreciation. I'm gonna be pretty quick because at the heart of this song, and really the movie as a whole, is the idea spoken about in my previous video. Our cosmic connection ties us to each other and to the stars, because we are all made of the same material forged in the exploding stars of the past. The sun, our closest star, helps breathe life into our earthly cycle and continues to perpetuate its magic throughout all of us. The lyrics are a little convoluted, and honestly some are just kind of filler babble, but man are there really some great gems in here.
Have you ever wondered why you look up at the sky for answers? What's passed down generationally to you
And to me,
This alludes to the stars being the answer that connects us, that we are made of the same stuff as the stars and galaxies, and that material is passed down, recycled, reused, and creates new life.
Well, you don't have to look too hard. We're here for all your question marks. Really want to know just who you are. I'm a star!
And that's the line, you're a star. For the purposes of this movie, this doesn't just mean that chemically and atomically you're a star, but that you carry the magic of a star within you. In fact, we all do. And this becomes the central theme of the movie, as the magic that binds us together is the same magic that comes from the stars. A neat little inference to make when trying to justify a magic connection between otherwise non-magical beings.
So your dust is my dust? Fantastic!
We are all stardust. Most of the rest of the song is silly filler phrases and lyrics bent to make the schemes work, but the core message is why I like it. Plus, I always love little science shoutouts, even if it's as simple as the solar system.
See, we were all just little nebulae in a nursery from supernovas. Now we've grown into our history.
It's still definitely not my favorite song, but I have come to appreciate it so much more because of what it's saying underneath. A lot of people didn't like this song,
This is the thanks I get.
including me at first. So what changed? I love the misdirection this song initially gives. It starts out light, upbeat, cheery even. It's showcasing Magnifico's arrogance and self-indulgence. He's a man that is definitely full of himself and upset that he's not getting the praise he deserves.
Someone praise me for my benevolence!
I think it's pretty funny that they also sneak in a little callback already to our cosmic roots.
It's genetics! Yeah, I got these genes from outer space!
Because, like noted in the previous video, all of our genes, or rather the chemical and molecular makeup of all of our genetic material, was formed in stars. So yes, he does technically have genetics from outer space, and ironically, we all do. But as I said, it's almost misleading in the way this song is presented. Magnifico is supposed to be the villain, but this isn't the villain song. Not yet, at least. However, what this does do is introduce us to the true Magnifico.
I'm passionate! I'm not petulant! Someone praise me for my benevolence!
He's a self-absorbed, self-congratulatory narcissist who views himself above all others, and yet needs constant reassurance, constant praise, constant compliments, constant thanks.
You're so brilliant! There's more. Admit it. You're cute and strong and bold and brave. Thanks.
But it's more than that. People need to appreciate what he's done for them.
See this kingdom? I built it up, and you still complain? Ungrateful much? Are you sure that you're not the prob? I'd love to see you try and do my job.
He's just complaining like a petulant child.
I'm not petulant.
sure, Dan.
Most of the song up to this point has been Magnifico whining about people not loving him enough,
And now you're questioning your king? The disrespect I just underwent?
or complaining despite all he perceives he does.
I'd give the clothes off Benito's back.
If you really needed that, I'd be the first one to volunteer. Henry, I clean up all your messes, and I'm always there when you need defense.
Now, to be clear, if we get into the logistics of providing free housing for what looks like thousands of people, then yeah, they probably should be more appreciative. But we're also in a child storytelling movie, so a lot of that can be hand-waved away. What is the goal of this song? What is it supposed to tell us about Magnifico? He's resentful of the people he rules over. Even the chorus speaks for this need for validation.
All I really want is just a little respect. And this is the thanks I get. This is the thanks I get.
Now, at this point in the movie, Magnifico feels as though he's been threatened by some unknown magic, so he is motivated to find and destroy this perceived magical threat and begin his turn to the dark magic. He acts reluctant at first,
I didn't want to do this. I swore I'd never do this.
but is very quickly sucked in by his temptation, his fear, his desperation.
But I'm hypnotized by how these pages flip because I refuse to have my powers stripped.
I'm not sure exactly what he means by having his powers stripped, perhaps being overthrown by somebody more magically powerful than he is, but it is a fear he has, rational or not, that causes him to be hypnotized into that forbidden book.
A potion, a spell, a summon, a curse? Anything to make that light reverse. To this book I don't want to be tethered, but desperate times call for desperate measures.
The song ends on his complete transformation into cartoonish villainy. There is no longer ambiguity on whether Magnifico is well-intentioned or not. Whatever good in him is being suppressed, destroyed, and replaced by his lust for power and a descent into madness. While This Is the Thanks I Get is the villain's song, it's not really a villain song. I feel like that comes here. This is the villain song, reminiscent of Be Prepared in a low and melodic minor key. It has the feel of something sinister, something dark.
You've been deceived. Magnifico is not the man he claims to be.
But rather than being from the villain, it's about the villain. Asha begins with the reveal to her friends right off the bat, and it's her job to convince them of his nefarious actions, including a nice little nod to the classic Disney villain color scheme, of course.
Now I've seen him show his true colors and shades of green.
But what this song does best is the pulsing, driving, motivating call to action, taking that dark tone and flipping it on the dire need for our heroes to come together and defeat the villain.
If it's not us, then who and when? If we don't fight, he knows he wins.
Everyone else is complacent. Everyone in the city is content with what is and is unwilling to stand and fight against Magnifico. She lays out that he will stop at nothing and it's all up to them and only them.
He'll go, there's no amount. I won't sit back, watch this play out, knowing what I know now.
Her motivating speech makes me want to,
Get up, yeah.
as well as thinking,
I don't think he's prepared for what's coming.
the beat and the melody of this song feel epic and momentous, driving and determined. There's a montage of the group setting up their plans among several call and responses among Asha's friends. Then, we are treated to one of my favorite moments, a moment of discovery, of fear, of shock and relief, a moment that got both laughs and cheers in my theater.
I've seen too many.
Yes, Queen Amaya is with us.
Keep count.
But more importantly, while she recognizes the evil that he's become, she also sees that it's an evil that has consumed him, something that goes above his own self-indulgence.
The good in him, I've watched it melt. I was fooled by the love I felt.
She still loves him and is hurt by his choice to embrace that dark magic, but he's taken actions that he can't undo and has done things that can't be unseen, and a choice made because
He loves one thing more than himself, his pride.
his need for power and control. And all of this changes because Asha tells them the secret she's been hiding the whole movie.
Knowing what I know,
I know, we know now. Knowing what we know now.
And now we have it.
So I make this wish.
The anthem of the movie, the power song, and one of my new all-time favorites. This Wish and the Reprise showcase Asha and her journey, as well as the overarching story of Wish as a whole. These two songs complement each other so fluidly and perfectly, which is why I'm kind of sad it took me so long to realize it. The lyrics in the Reprise are some of the most powerful and important in the entire film, and the first few times, I was so taken in by the emotion of the final act itself that I kind of got lost in the moment. But the reason they complement each other becomes crystal clear when we look at the lyrics. They are a direct call and response, a question and answer, a transition from uncertainty to certainty, the unsure idea of, can I do this? To the definitive, we can do this. This wish hits hard for me. It's emotional, it drives our characters, and it both sets up and resolves our main story. And it does so in a beautiful package. A mix of quick staccato lyrics and syncopated rhythms, entrancing melodic lines, and a belting power chorus. This wish begins with desperation and despair. Asha has just found out that Magnifico will vindictively never grant her Saba's wish, nor anyone else in her family. She realizes the truth. There is no process to selection, only Magnifico's whim, guided by his personal paranoia and fear.
Isn't truth supposed to set you free? Or why do I feel so weighed down by it?
This is the first step to her breaking, snapping out of her blind devotion, and the realization is difficult for her to process. Remember that she was a believer, a bastion for Magnifico and his kingdom, and the image of him being a benevolent and perfect leader is now shattered, as is her identity of being a faithful cog in his set of gears.
Open their eyes to all the lies, then would they change their minds like I did?
Her family wants to continue living in this blissful ignorance. They don't want to know their wishes. They don't want to know what they're missing. They want their blissful ignorance. Remember that in order to give your wish to Magnifico, it is effectively taken from you. You have no memory of it, and in return, no way to pursue it on your own.
This is where we've been, but it's not where we belong. And I may be young, but I know I'm not wrong.
Ultimately, she knows in her heart that that isn't right, and the ones that she loves the most don't want to hear it. This realization sets her on her path that she goes on to help free her Saba's wish and eventually everyone's. She needs to show them, make them see what she sees, make them know what she knows now.
So I look up at the stars to guide me and throw caution to every warning sign. If knowing what it could be is what drives me, then let me be the first to stand in line.
Asha is lost, but she's also headstrong in her determination to do something about it and to act without care or concern for consequence. This strength to go into the unknown despite not knowing what lies just around the river bend.
So I make this wish to have something more for us than this.
More than the empty hope that maybe a wish will be granted, more than the hollow promises of an empty man, a wish for all the people of Rosas to have the freedom to pursue their dreams themselves, make their own wishes come true.
I never knew I needed room to grow. Yeah, I did what I was told when someone told me no.
Asha is a good person. She believes she's a good person. She's followed the rules and did everything she's told, did everything she was supposed to do, and she never knew she needed more than that. She took for granted that no one needed more than that.
Now I've got all of this freedom in my bones, but I've still got the lid on, so it doesn't overflow.
In the acceptance of her new revelations, she still wants to stay grounded to her roots and beliefs. She is still a good person, and she will still keep the lid on.
I've got reservations and hesitations on where I should even begin. I'm past dipping my toes in, but I'm not past diving in.
First off, I love this cadence, the offbeat rhythmic delivery, the switch up from flowing melodic parts of the rest of the song. It's a wonderful and distinct change in pace and instrumentation, as well as an engaging and driving accent of the offbeats. The tonal shift reflects her shift in perspective.
It's clear how much you love this kingdom and its people.
The shift of her views of both Rosas and King Magnifico. She recognizes her own unease at the unknown, her apprehension of what to do next, but is still determined. Her toes are already in, and she's not past diving, a line that's pretty hard to hear without subtitles, to be honest, but a meaningful one at that.
If I could just be pointed in any given direction on where to go and what to do.
Again, the desperation, the need for validation, guidance, something, anything to help her.
My legs are shaking, but my head's held high the way you always taught me to.
She draws on the memory of her father and the stars they used to wish on. It drives her to look up to the stars to guide her.
I'm sure there will be challenges that find me, but I can take them on one at a time.
Again, her optimism in the face of difficulty should be applauded. She has the determination to face the problems no matter what and take on everything that comes her way. And we finish with another beautiful recitation of the chorus and a dramatic flourishing finish.
More than this, so I make this wish to have something more
Now we get to the reprise, the answer, the certainty, the coming together of everyone. At this point in the story, Magnifico has gone mad with power, consumed the townspeople's wishes, captured Star, and is exacting his revenge on those he feels threatened and betrayed by, which at this point is everyone, but especially Asha. Having outsmarted Asha and her friend's plan, he stands atop his castle.
There will be no more hope, no more dreams, and no escape.
The townspeople are trapped. Asha is trapped.
Nothing!
And the triumph begins with this quiet and innocuous line we talked about earlier.
We are stars.
And before we go any further here, I really want to contrast the lyrics with those from the first time we heard this song nearly an hour earlier into the movie. I want to highlight the parallels and how it shows the growth and change for Asha as well as the people of Rosas.
So I look out at the stars, just like me.
Right off the bat, we see a fundamental shift. First, she is looking at the stars for guidance in a time of uncertainty, to now realizing the connection she and everyone has. We are all in this together. We are stars.
And I'm begging you to see this as a sign.
Instead of acting without a sign of care or concern for consequence, she is now pleading that they see this sign, and that sign will be enough to convince everyone to come together and stand up.
'Cause I know that if you choose to stand beside me,
We'll be greater than all his magic combined.
We are all in this together. We can defeat him together. We can prevail if we see the connections we have within each other and act together.
So I make this wish to have something more for us than this.
Their spark ignites the magic of a star burning in the hearts of everyone, united and focused on inspiring each other to rise up and vanquish evil. The realization suddenly spreading as people begin questioning whether it was worth giving up a part of themselves.
We've had generations of expectations, wondering why and wondering when.
They get it now.
We're past dipping our toes in, we know it's do or die, it's sink or swim.
The hope they had placed in a king, a powerful being, someone who promised to make them happy, it was all just a game, a way to control the people of Rosas by dangling the carrot of their wish as a way to live out their power fantasy of omnipotence and control. And this wave of enlightenment is spreading to all the people of Rosas.
We were all confusing your promises for protection, but we know what we've gotta do.
This is it. This is what happens when people rise up together.
Hope unchanging with our wish held high, the way you've always taught us to.
To fight against an evil man seeking to control them. An individual person wouldn't have been able to, but much like Sabino's wish, it was the inspiration that the city needed, and I think the rest of the song speaks for itself. So I look out at the stars just like me, and throw caution to every warning sign. What we do in this moment is defining, and we can take it on if we ally.
So I make this wish
To have something more for us than this.
When it comes to how music feels and what it says to the audience, those are very individual experiences and interpretation. Maybe your views don't align with mine, and that's okay. I don't expect everyone to bend over backwards to say this is the greatest soundtrack of any movie ever, but I do want to shine a light onto the things I personally enjoyed and explain why they worked so well for me. When thinking about how the music feels, I find myself genuinely loving and wanting to listen to several of these songs on their own and without the demand of my daughter. Welcome to Rosas, This Wish, and What I Know Now are songs that I will embrace and enjoy all on my own. And while I have come to appreciate the elements of other songs, specifically At All Costs and I'm a Star, I enjoy them more for their narrative impact first and probably wouldn't choose to put them on a playlist, even if I think they have some great elements, and all of that is okay. At the end, music is subjective. What one person loves, another person might really dislike. But what I'm trying to make sense of here is, are these songs conveying an emotion appropriate for the scene they're in? And do they tell us relevant things about the characters in our story? Here in Wish, I feel like every single song is a resounding yes to both of these.